Breath of the Wild has a ridiculous amount of items. You can beat up bokoblins with anything from a tree branch to a broadsword to a gigantic laser chainsaw. But because of how jam-packed the game is with new swords and new shields and everything like that, it misses out on some of the classic Zelda items that I think would have made the game even better than it already is. So today I'm going to go through my top 5 items that I think should have been in Breath of the Wild. Let's get into it.
Number 5.
The Rod of Seasons. The Rod of Seasons is an odd choice because it's only appeared once before in a Zelda game, in Oracle of Seasons on the Game Boy. With the Rod of Seasons, Link can change between summer, winter, spring and autumn in certain areas in Holodrum. This allows him to do things such as cross lakes when they're frozen in winter, or grow plants during summer. Imagine the possibilities this item would have had in Breath of the Wild. Thawing out snowy areas like Mount Hylia in order to traverse them more easily, or freezing the massive Lake Hylia in the winter to walk across its surface. Breath of the Wild's world is pretty interactive as is, but an item like the Rod of Seasons would have changed it up to a whole new level.
Number 4.
Beetle. The Beetle from Skyward Sword is one of the most painfully overlooked items in Zelda because it only appeared once. It kind of functions similarly to the boomerang, in that it can be used to retrieve far off objects. You fire it off, then lose control of Link and gain control of the tiny mechanical flying beetle, which you can maneuver around the world and pick up items with. It would have been so easy to fit into Breath of the Wild too. With a game that focuses so much on technology and machinery, just say it's a Sheikah artifact that you receive as a reward for a trial, and can then control it with the Sheikah Slate in shrine puzzles similar to how it's used in puzzles in Skyward Sword. It's one of my favourite one-off Zelda items, and it's a shame it's only been seen in the Wii game.
Number 3.
Gust Bellows. Speaking of items that only appeared once in Skyward Sword, the Gust Bellows would have been an awesome addition to Breath of the Wild. The Gust Bellows pretty much do what it says on the tin, blow a huge amount of air. This can then be used to clear dust or sand off hidden objects, or just to blow enemies away entirely. I suppose it'd function similarly to the Korok leaf in Breath of the Wild, only a mechanical Sheikah version of it that's far stronger. Imagine how quickly you could move your raft if you had one of these bad boys with you. One of my favourite things about Breath of the Wild in its items and its world is how interactive and creative everything is. You basically have completely free reign in how you solve puzzles and kill enemies. An item as wacky and weird as the Gust Bellows, I think, would have fit right in the world of Hyrule this time around, which focuses so heavily on physics-based puzzles and combat.
Number 2.
Hookshot. Okay, I mentioned this in my top 5 Legend of Zelda items video, but I think that it was such a missed opportunity to leave out the hookshot in Breath of the Wild. Such a huge part of the game is working out how to traverse the massive landscape, and giving Link one of his most iconic and versatile tools to do this with would have made travelling across Hyrule so much more fun. Especially with the emphasis on climbing in Breath of the Wild, why doesn't Link have his most famous climbing tool? It would be a great late game item, especially if it was more akin to the double claw shots from Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword, so Link could scale mountains more easily. And then if you throw the paraglider into the mix too, it's a shame that it didn't feature in the game, and it would have made Hyrule even more fun to explore.
Number 1.
The Zora Tunic. This one I suppose isn't so much about the item itself, but what it would mean for the game. One of my biggest disappointments with Breath of the Wild is the fact that you can't swim underwater. Literally, there's so much water in Hyrule this time around, from the great rivers and lakes to the massive ocean to the south, to one of my personal biggest disappointments with the game, Lake Hylia. Lake Hylia in Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time is probably my favourite location in both of the games. Little spoiler for you there if I ever make a top 5 Zelda locations video. But Lake Hylia is such a massive letdown in Breath of the Wild. It's where I went immediately after leaving the plateau for the first time, and I found nothing. Usually the murky depths of Hyrule's biggest lakes hide secrets such as a dungeon. But without the ability to go underwater in Breath of the Wild, Lake Hylia is a huge letdown. Not to mention the possibility of an aquatic divine beast or something similar that would genuinely be amazing in combination with the Zora Tunic. The tunic is present in a few games in the series, or something similar to it is. It allows Link to freely swim underwater for as long as he likes. Finding secrets in the depths of Hyrule's oceans and lakes would be such an amazing feature that's sorely missing. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, please leave a like on the video, it really helps the channel out, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing for more. Are there any Zelda items that Breath of the Wild missed that you wanted in the game? Leave it in the comments below. Cheers guys, and I'll see you next time.